Hi, this is Dave, Fellow Running Guide. Welcome to this week's navigation task. This week we've got a route choice task. So I want you to think about how you'd get from A, so this point here just by the side of the road, over to point B, which is the trig point at Higher Shelf Stones. So obviously there's going to be more ways than one of doing it, but have a think about a few different ways. What would be the easiest in terms of navigation? Which would be the fastest or the shortest? Have a think about things like tick off features that are going to help you on your way, tell you where you are. What's going to, could you use anything as an attack point? Also, what's going to prevent you from going too far? What's going to catch you and, tell you that you've overshot? So let's have a think about some of those options. Well, the easiest in terms of navigating would be to stick to paths all the way. So what you could do is you could go up the main road for probably about 400-500 meters and then take this bridleway and then pick up the Pennine Way here, along the Pennine Way all the way up to Herne Clough, this junction here, and then take the path in. So that's probably easiest navigationally. However, it's quite a long way around. We've got a big zig and zag, almost like a Z shape there, so that's certainly not the shortest. And then we've got the issue that this is a main road. Now obviously local knowledge helps if you're not familiar with this area. Well, this is the A57 Manchester to Sheffield Snake Road, so it's a very busy main road, and also there's no safe way of going at the side of the road. It's quite steeply in-cut here and it's not possible to just walk at the side of the road, so that's something that you would bear in mind if you knew the route. It might be that we could actually get a little bit further away from the road and take it take the land just inland to the north of the road a little bit. So let's put some arrows on the map. So imagine rather than taking the road, we just went up and just stayed to the left of this little stream over to here, and then we hit this black line. So we don't know whether that is a dry stone wall or a fence line. How easy is it to cross? Well, we're in access land, and we're also, see that the contour values here, 578, 540, so we're up on high ground. This is the 550 meter contour here. So usually when we're in high access land, any walls or fences are often the walls are tumble down and the fences have little step overs, or you can actually just step over them. They're not too difficult to cross, so that's not going to be a barrier to us. So we get to this point here, take the bridleway, and because we're hitting the Pennine Way, it should be a fairly obvious path there. We shouldn't overshoot. If we do, we're soon going to look like we're going steeply downhill into Crooked Clough, so that tells us we've gone too far. So from there, up, and then see here we get to, the path comes along to Herne Clough, and look at the contour lines there. We've got a steep drop down, steep up the other side, and a very obvious west to east running stream. So that would be an obvious feature. We shouldn't miss that. So we follow that for a couple of 100 meters, and at this point here the path continues northwestwards and the Pennine Way goes off, turns right up to here, so we shouldn't miss that point, and then it's just a case of following it in. Okay, so that's fine, but like I said, it's a long way round. Could we shorten it? Well, what if we got to a point here and then rather than going up and around, we went down and we aim to take this path? So in terms of navigation, is that difficult? Well, look at the contour lines here, steeply dropping in to this stream with a waterfall here, so we want to be above that. If we cut down too soon, we find that we've got a steep drop. We're wanting a gentle drop, follow this stream down and then in that way. Okay, so that would be one way of doing it. Can we do it even more directly? Well, yes, we can. Imagine a racing line, a fell runner's race line, if you like. Could we pretty much go straight across? Well, what if we went up this stream a little way and then crossed over, and we used this stream here as a handrail? Very steep to start with, but then just using that. So again, let me put an arrow on up to here, up, handrail across with this stream, straight across, ticking off these as we go along. So we've crossed the fence, crossed the Pennine Way, crossed this stream and up as mentioned. What if the visibility is poor? What's going to prevent us overshooting? Well, it's at the high point, the trig point, obviously. So if we cease going up and start going down, we've gone wrong. And we've also got these higher shelf stones here, this rocky ground that we could maybe use as an attack point. If we weren't happy with the path, we could aim for this point here and then just go straight to the north of those. So that's the shortest way of doing it. Are there any other ways? What if we don't want to straight line it, or want to have a mix of paths and rough ground? Well, we're already on a path here, look. We could follow the path up to this point here. There's a little black square. We don't know what that is. It's a man-made feature. It could be a sheepfold, it could be a ruin. I'll actually show you at the end of the video what it is, because I've visited it. But what if we went up to there and then cut across in between these two streams, using these as handrails, and then got onto the Pennine Way and then up and took that path there. So again, let me put arrows on, up to that point, northwestwards, cutting across, tick off the fence line, up to the Pennine Way, tick that off. We could from that point go straight across and pick up this. That's one way of doing it. You might get to this point and find that you're on a good track, good path, Pennine Way, and think, you know what, I'm going to follow it round a little bit to this point and then follow it in as before. So that is an alternative way of doing it. What did I do? When I did it this week, I went that way. So as mentioned, up to the little square there and then across. Noticed I've come away from the stream there and then kinked back. That was just following the line of least resistance on the ground, and then got to the fence and could look to the left and saw there was a little step over. So rather than climbing over it, just went back and stepped over it. Followed this re-entrant up and then knew that the Pennine Way was a couple of 100 metres to the left. So thought cut across rather than continue on rough ground. Up, use Hernclough as a definite thing. We knew definitely where we were there, we could see it, and then in. Notice here I didn't actually follow the path that's marked on the map, just because there were obvious lines on the ground, a few different paths there, and followed it in up to there. So that was the way I did it. What does that little square look like? Well, it looks like that. It's an old shooting cabin. It's actually tumbled down the wall. The roof is caving in, so you wouldn't want to really go inside it. And its sheep have got into it, and you can imagine what they've done over the years. So yeah, it's not particularly pleasant. Interesting, but not particularly pleasant to go inside. So here's the stream, and then the start, the road is down here. So I'm looking back downhill, back down the stream. I'm just above the cabin looking down, back down towards there. There's the stream coming down. So that's this week's task. There's no right and wrong answer, just different ways of doing it. I think if I was racing, I'd take the fell runners line, but I was just out having a bit of fun, so I took that purple line. But anyway, hope you found it interesting. Thanks for watching. Look out for next week's navigation task. Bye for now.